What's up, you guys? We're back again with the first gen Lightning. Today we're going to start taking it all apart. Well, let's see how far we get. But and if you guys seen the previous video, it's where we explained what happened with the blown head gasket. And it's been sitting for like about 2 or 3 weeks now, so we have to get to it. Get this running before summer, hopefully. So we're just gonna label this. I'm pretty sure there's no right or wrong way to put it, or maybe there is, I don't know, but we're gonna label it. This is the intake side, this is the intake manifold side, this is the airbox side, and we're gonna start disassembling the top part. Once we get all that off, we're gonna do the accessories up here in the front, and this might be able to stay here. I'm not sure. Actually, I think it's gonna go with the intake manifold. We're gonna tape everything up. So let me go ahead and label this, and then I'll put you guys back on, see what's next. Hopefully we get at least the intake manifold off today. One more thing before we actually start disassembling the rest of the engine is removing this grill. Just don't want to break it. It's all plastic, so we'd rather remove it, set it aside, and then get to working on it. There's only 4 screws that I can see up here, and then most likely clips on the bottom side. Pretty sure this clips down here. Oh, there's another screw here. Right here. Doesn't look like it's coming off, but it might be. That doesn't sound too good. Oh shit. Oh, well, it came off. Alright, let me just put you guys down for a little bit. So you lift up and out, because it has these little tabs right here. Those little tabs go in there, and then it comes off. So I'm gonna put these screws back where they go, just so we won't lose them. There's what, 4, and the 5th is right there. So next we're gonna remove this. Just so we could get the fan shroud out the way and the clutch fan. Gotta remove this tire thing. Remove this thing right here to be able to remove this. Set that aside for now. I'm gonna pop out these plastic clips with this little clip remover. And I think this comes off or slides off from here. Might be wrong. Let me see. That comes off. We got this off. So it has these little tabs right here on the ends. So we just kind of like put pressure to the top or to this side. Put pressure, and then release these from the airbox. So we have to get to this right here. Oh, never mind. That's gonna be a little harder to get to. We're gonna try to catch it in that pan down there, but yeah. Now, since that's draining, I'm gonna take out take off this clamp and this clamp right here, so we can remove this upper radiator hose. Next, we're gonna remove the serpentine belt, and I think we're gonna remove these heater hoses. We're gonna start taking off these front accessories, because this one for sure needs to come off because it's holding onto the head right there through this bolt. I'm pretty sure there's another one down there, and then also this bracket is on the head. Shit. No, I think we should pull the radiator. Actually, next what we're gonna do is try to pull the radiator, or at least the fan shroud, get it out of the way. So we're gonna have to remove these 4 10mm bolts, pretty sure they're 10, to get the clutch fan out, and then we're gonna have to remove these 2 bolts here, and I'm pretty sure there's 2 more on the sides or down there, might be just clipped in. I think that's what's gonna come off next. With the clutch fan out of the way and the fan shroud, we put the engine at top dead center. I don't know if it's needed, but we just decided to do that since the distributor is going to come off. So I think that's what we're going to do next, remove the distributor so we can set it aside. Actually, no, I don't think that's going to be next. Next is going to be the serpentine belt. So we're going to take this off with the 16mm wrench, remove the serpentine belt and these 2 heater hoses. So we're actually gonna remove this whole bracket with everything still on it, with the alternator. I think this is like a smog pump if I'm not mistaken. And we're just gonna set it aside. But in order to get to the bolt back there with the extension, I'm gonna have to remove this. I could remove the pulley, but I think I'm just gonna remove the tensioner from here. And then get to the other 2 or 3 bolts, whatever is back there. And this pulley has to be replaced as well. It's about to seize up. And on this side, we're gonna do the same thing. We're just gonna remove this plug, get to these bolts. I think there's like 3. There's one here, another one right here. And this is actually a 15. I said it was a 16, but it's a 15. The bolt back here is a 13 or a half, if you could get a half on there. And it only has this little hose going to the water pump. This one's held up here by I think it's like a 15 as well, and then it goes to the heater. So we could also remove that if we need to, but we're just gonna leave it on there for now. The alternator has a plug, which I don't think has to come off because that harness looks like it's going here to the body. So we're just gonna try to set this aside. And we're not removing the radiator because the transmission line goes into it. We don't want to mess with that. With that bracket out the way, we were able to remove this bracket. There's 3 bolts. These 2 were 13s and this one was a 14. And there's a couple of connectors we have to disconnect. But this hose, which comes from this loom right here, goes under the intake manifold. So we're gonna get to that once we remove this. Now we're gonna remove this complete bracket. There's 3 bolts as well. This one, and this one. And I only see 1 connector up here, so I'm gonna disconnect this AC compressor connector, set it aside, and then get to those 3 bolts. And I'm gonna leave all these hoses attached, and hopefully we can swing this out of the way as well. So we got this bracket off with those 3 bolts, 3 14mm bolts on this side, and it was just this plug for the AC compressor. Next, we're going to remove this upper intake manifold. So there is 4 Torx screws up here. And before we get to that, we're going to tape these at the end, and we're going to label it wherever they plug in, just so we can know exactly how they came off and put it back together. So this one we're probably going to disconnect it from here, goes to the valve cover, and then this one also we'll probably unplug it from there. And there's a couple more in the back. There's like this little plug right here. I don't know if that's going to come together with this or not, but we have to get to that as well. So, and there's a couple of bolts here. So there's one here, Torx. This looks like a 10, and there's a couple more up here. So once we get to removing that, we'll put you guys back on. We finally got the upper intake manifold off. It had all these connectors to the back. If I would have known, I think I would have disconnected them from there. I think that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna plug them from here, from this side, and then connect all this back. Let me connect all that onto the intake manifold when we install it. And then the fuel rails are back there as well. We had to disconnect both of those to get this whole harness out of the way. Then we're gonna vacuum all this trash and stuff before we remove the upper intake manifold and the distributor and all that. We also got the distributor cap off, and that's pretty much it. So all these connectors are back there. These three have to come off. These little vacuum things, you could leave them on there, and I guess unplug them from this end and then just have them all come off. Also the EGR, we were struggling with these two, but this comes off of the intake manifold, so next time we know to pull it off from there. And there's another hose up here in the front. Oh, this one goes to the front of the upper intake manifold, but it kind of got torn, so we're gonna cut it with the blade, and then we're gonna slide it back on when we install this back on. There's also this plug for that harness. It goes into that harness. We're gonna get to the vacuum part right now, and then that's it. We got the lower intake manifold off. We vacuumed it. We took off everything. Well, all these plugs were from the harness. So it has a couple of bolts right here on the sides, and still got to clean it, probably pressure wash it or something. We're gonna get a new thermostat for it, and we're gonna get this new little hose right here, because this one tore up when we were trying to take it off from the bottom. It looks like the original one, the Motorcraft hose. So we're gonna replace this one, and tomorrow I think we're gonna start unbolting the heads. We are going to get to these bolts for the headers. Well, actually the ones at the collector first. Last night after we cut the video, we came back and we sprayed all this with some WD-40, or not WD-40, PB Blaster actually. And today we're going to hopefully get all these out. This one's gonna be easier than that side. That side has a bracket, and this one also has the dipstick for the oil, I mean for the transmission. So this side has a bracket right here. Seems like there's more nuts and bolts and stuff. So we're gonna try to get these off. As soon as we get that off, we're gonna be able to take off the valve covers and pull the heads, hopefully. Took off the valve covers. There's only like 2, 4, 6 bolts on each side. We had to hit them with the mallet because they were on there pretty tight. So you got the original gaskets, most likely. Put some new ones on there because I don't think those are reusable. So next we're gonna get to the rocker arms, loosen them up, and pull out the push rods. We have to keep them in order because we're gonna reuse these. So we're gonna, I don't know, find a cardboard and label them. Make sure they all go back exactly where they came from, and then we'll be able to remove the cylinder heads. We loosened up all the bolts, and now the only thing holding it down is this back here. It's a 13 millimeter. There's one on each head. Once we remove those, the head will come off. So we're back again with this truck. It's been like 2 weeks since we pulled the heads. We stopped recording because we ran into a little issue that we weren't expecting, but I don't know if you can see on the cylinder wall, it's pretty beat up. Also that one, but look at the piston, it's pretty banged up. So we're gonna have to pull this engine and get it rebuilt, which sucks, but it is what it is. We basically got it all torn down. So what we're gonna do next is get to the motor mount bolts, this little bracket thing right here, the torque converter bolts, the flywheel bolts, all that, and then we'll be able to pull this out, drop it off at the machine shop. We're not gonna record all of that because we're really not looking forward to doing all that. Oh, we also have to get to the starter right there, and Then once we get it back, we'll probably record, and that's when we'll put you guys back on. These are the heads. Hopefully they're not cracked, but I'm pretty sure they're going to be cracked, or at least one's going to be cracked. When we picked up the truck, the guy said that he had a full tune-up, that it had new spark plugs and all that, and you could tell that these are not new. So just be careful. Either he was lying or whoever did the tune-up got them for the money, so you gotta be careful with that. What else? We're gonna try to clean these intake manifolds. Hopefully give them like a quick spray with some degreaser and wash them. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So we'll put you guys back on whenever we start recording again on this truck. And that's it for this video. Make sure to check us out on Instagram at Yonke_OXC Films. I'll leave that in the description down below, and we'll catch you on the next one.